Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Nature City Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Pradelli, and I'm also the CEO and co-founder of Nature City, having started the company over 20 years ago with my wife, Beth. And since then, it's been our privilege to have served over 500,000 Americans by offering them the best supplements we can make. In this week's episode, it's actually part one of two episodes. We're going to be talking about new research that was just published for the TamaFlex joint health ingredient, something we're really excited about. If you heard my podcast episode interview with Eric Anderson, who's from the maker of TamaFlex, this was a few months ago. I think it's episode number 14 if you want to check it out. We really dove into the details and the background, the backstory behind TamaFlex and some of the technical details, which I'm not going to be covering today. But, TamaFlex, we really believe, is probably the most significant innovation we've seen in the joint health market in many, many years. At the time, Eric teased the results from a third scientific study with TamaFlex, but he really couldn't get into the details because the study had not been published yet. That's changed, and the results of the study, the full results, are published in the journal Food and Nutrition Research. And in a couple of words, I'd say the TamaFlex results were, very impressive. I mean, if I use two more words, very exciting from my point of view. What was really interesting to me about this study is not only did it have a placebo group, there was a third group that served as what's called a positive control, meaning it was something that was previously shown to work for joint health. And that positive control in the study was a 1,000 milligram combination of curcumin and boswellia serrata, which research has certainly found can help joint health and function. There's a lot of data, and those are two popular combination in the marketplace. And if you're curious, as I was, the curcumin boswellia combination was chosen because it is one of the most popular joint health supplements in the market. And I think in this case, they were actually looking at Amazon data. So, and I do give the folks at TamaFlex a lot of credit for being willing to test their ingredient head to head against a market leader, right? You can picture how that can backfire on your business if the results show that the curcumin boswellia combination was superior to, in this case, TamaFlex. That would be a tough way to proceed with that data being public. Instead, to me, it looks like this was a home run for TamaFlex. And frankly, those perhaps like you who are seeking help for their joints. I mean, yes, as we'd expect, there were benefits from curcumin and boswellia, but on every measure in the study, it was found that TamaFlex worked much better and faster than the boswellia curcumin combination. And again, this was actually a relatively short study, 30 days, so there wasn't much time to produce results. The researchers took measures at the beginning, which is baseline, then looked at 5 days, 15 days, and then 30 days. And pretty much every step of the way, those taking TamaFlex showed marked improvements, whereas those taking curcumin, boswellia, or placebo didn't fare nearly as well. Now, before we jump into some of the specific findings, in case you aren't familiar with TamaFlex, it combines extracts from tamarind seeds and turmeric, right? Turmeric is fairly a well-known spice, broadly used in the supplement world these days. Tamarind is a little more novel. It's used in cooking. For example, if you ever enjoyed the pad thai noodle dish from Thailand, well, the sauce used to make that dish uses tamarind seeds and tamarind oil. Now, although these two spices on their own can be very beneficial for joint health, the makers of TamaFlex, found that they work even better together, in supporting many aspects of joint health. One of the great things we like about the makers of TamaFlex is they do very thorough studies. Okay, they don't just look at one or two measures which could give you false readings. They do a broad set of, they really invest enough in the studies to get a broad set of data looking at many, both, subjective, and many, frankly, objective measures too. And we're going to go through some of those in a second here around, functional performance of the joints. But they also do blood work, take urinary markers from urine. So they really do collect a broad data set to give you a really good and full picture of the performance of what's in the study. TamaFlex, has been shown to help, not only reduce joint discomfort, but improve functional performance in many common daily tasks. Or they also really protect the health of joint cartilage, which, as you may know, is crucial for longer-term joint health. Now, the effects of TamaFlex, as I may have mentioned, have been demonstrated in 2 earlier published studies in both healthy adults and those, dealing with mild discomfort that, knee discomfort that, we experience with aging. So let's get into some of the findings in this new 3rd study where TamaFlex was compared to not only a placebo group, but a group taking the popular curcumin boswellia combination. And I want to start what I think is the most important results, or are the most important results, which are 3 tests of functional performance of the joints. We're not going to cover all of them today. We're going to cover some of them next week as well, because I don't want to keep you here for too long. But the first one of these tests, actually, let me just summarize what the 3 tests were. So these tests involve a 6-minute walking test to measure the distance a participant can walk in 6 minutes. The second one was a stair climb test that counted the number of seconds it took to climb up and down and go down a flight of stairs. And the third one was a 30-second chair stand test, which really counts the number of times you can stand and sit, in that 30-second time frame. Now, the reason I like these tests is not only are they relevant to daily living, they're less subjective. No one's asking you how to rate how you feel today, which can be subjective. These tests are about how your joints perform. It's hard to fake a significant improvement, especially when you have a good sample size. So in the first test, the walking test, and really we're going to just cover the results, the change from the start to the end period of 30 days. Again, as I mentioned, there were also readings taking it 5 days and 15 days. Just for the sake of a summary, we're not going to cover those. But as I said, TamaFlex did really well at each point. So the first test, the walking test, over 30 days, those in the placebo group had a small improvement. All right, they were able to work 50 feet further in 6 minutes on average. And again, all of those we're talking about are averages of all the folks in the group. Results, as you would expect, will vary by person. If you have an average, that means roughly, 50% of folks perform below average and the other 50% perform better than average, right? So that's no different here, that there's going to be variations in performance within the groups. So the placebo group, as I mentioned, they were able to walk on average 50 feet further in 6 minutes, a slight change, Now, having done this, again, remember, this is the 4th time these folks have done this, right? They started baseline, they started 5 days, 15 days, and now 30 days, okay? So there's always going to be a little improvement just from the experience of having done it. And that's actually one of the benefits of having a placebo group, because you could see what the improvement is just, that comes with, I guess, experience. Now, the curcumin boswellia group did a little better than that, as we'd expect, increasing their walk distance by 75 feet, a better, but in this case, not significant increase compared to the placebo group. So that brings us to the TamaFlex group. So those taking the 250 milligrams of TamaFlex for 30 days, well, they left the other 2 groups in the dust, okay, increasing their walking distance in 6 minutes by a remarkable 351 feet. Okay, so let's review the numbers again. The placebo group walked 50 feet further. The curcumin boswellia group walked 75 feet further, and the TamaFlex group walked 351 feet further. Okay, that's more than a football field or soccer field in distance. Just to try to picture it. I mean, say you were walking with a friend, who walks at a similar pace and speed as you do, and you took TamaFlex for 30 days, and your friend did not. Well, you do that same 6-minute walk after 30 days, you would finish a full 350 feet ahead of your friend. Okay. He'd be able to see you, but he might be able to recognize that as you. It's that much further ahead. And, that's just a very, very, very meaningful number, right? I mean, very good indication that, those taking TamaFlex, their joints were feeling much better. They were able to, they were stronger, had more endurance, and frankly, were just able to walk faster, right? I mean, and this is really important because not only is it help you with your mobility, but, walking faster is associated with, better, both bone and muscle health. There's been studies linking, faster walking speeds to better brain and cognitive function as we age. So, this is good for a lot of reasons, in addition to just regular fitness. And, look, again, if you just compare head to head how the two supplements performed, or the TamaFlex group, basically performed about 4.5 times better in terms of rate of improvement compared to the curcumin turmeric group. Okay, a very, very, very significant improvement. So, and this was just a start. We're going to pick up next week with more results and finish the discussion of this new research that we think is, really important because of this head-to-head. And the reason I say it's so important is because when you try to compare different nutrients and how they work, this is the gold standard way of doing it in the same study, okay, where you have the same population, same age on average, same characteristics. It gets really hard, probably less, what's the right word? Less scientific, less of a result that you can rely on, less scientifically reliable, I guess is what the phrase I was looking for. When you kind of take, results from one study and pull another published study, just trying to compare and contrast, can be done, but it's a little more challenging just because, they were done under different conditions. So we love that, TamaFlex invested in this head-to-head study, and we're really, really excited by the results we are seeing, comparing 250 milligrams of TamaFlex to 1,000 milligram combination of curcumin and boswellia. I mean, just think, even if TamaFlex didn't perform that much better than the 1,000 milligram combination, just think having only 250 milligrams to take, what it does either for you and having less capsules to take, or allows a formula like Nature City to combine TamaFlex with other beneficial nutrients that can help you, right? It's really nice to be able to do more with less. So in the meantime, between now and next week, if you want, you can check out our TrueJoint FLX product that features TamaFlex and other supporting joint health nutrients. You can find TrueJoint FLX at naturecity.com along with our other products. And, I really encourage you to spend some time looking at it and give it a try. What we find with TrueJoint is, people benefit at different rates. Some are going to feel noticeable benefits in the first few weeks. Others, the change is very, very gradual. Sometimes they don't even recognize after 2-3 months how much the supplement is really helping them. And we've had countless times where people kind of quit saying, this isn't really helping me. And then a few weeks later, they recognize how much it was helping them, and they're like, "Hey, can you overnight a few bottles of TrueJoint to me? It really was making a difference." So check out TrueJoint. We are going to pick up on some of the more exciting findings here about TamaFlex in this new study. I had to give you a little background today, so I couldn't cover as much as I would have hoped. but we will certainly cover it all next week. So definitely tune in. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you like this episode, it'll be a reminder, serve as a reminder to let you know that when new episodes are available. You can also listen to us on your favorite streaming services, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Better yet, when you go to naturecity.com, sign up for our email address, because each week you'll be alerted when new podcast episodes are available that you can listen to or watch at your leisure. So this is Carl Pradelli, and I will see you next week.